Well, my name's Tony, and you're all more than welcome. And I'm going to sing some songs and tell some stories. This song's called Just Enough to Pay for the Gods, and it's about Roy Hood, who I was a very big fan of when I was little. And he actually passed away at the beginning of lockdown, and it kind of got overshadowed by that very fact, because it would have been like quite a huge event. I started writing this song because I heard an interview with Roy Hood and Sandy Toksvig, and he talked about his life. And this song actually was the breaking of a dam, because I hadn't written any songs for adults for about 25 years. And I listened to this interview, still on Chain Reaction, and it's called Just Enough to Pay for the Gods. There's someone at the door. There's someone at the door. Right, when they come in, can you please say, what time do you call this, okay? Oh, yeah. So after what time do you call this? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. What time do you call this? I've got a feeling that there's a pattern here. Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, the idea is that you can sort of tell you something about the background of the songs. And I hadn't written anything for grown-ups for about 25 years, and this is about Roy Hood's life. And what happened was, he was brought up by his granny, and she could only afford to pay for, as you said, like the gods, but they used to leave like a white mark because of the whitewash on them, and she would always make sure that she scraped down his, like the backs of his trousers and his shoes. And he wasn't actually a born entertainer. What he wanted to do was, he wanted to go to things which were called improvement classes. And one of them was stagecraft. And he just took to it like a duck to water. But he couldn't join the youth club unless he took this improving class. So that's what it's about. No father's hand, no mother's voice, to keep me from the cold. An easy touch, so wise, so old, to help face all the world could hold. I never knew I needed improving. Another lost soul on war's troubled shore. Threw me a line, shed your time, just to sail these sods, just enough to pay for the gods. Laughter's tears in the dark, high above the crowd. Precious white, heaven steps, the cheap seats were all our own. Left the mark on her shoes and the sharing. Just never let the neighbors know. You threw me a line, shed your time, just to sail these sods, but just enough to pay for the gods. I'll look after you, the money's tight, I'll keep you from the cold. Two can live as cheap as one, no one grand and none so proud. Let me get away with murder, a love of laughter you taught me to share. You threw me a line, shed your time, just to sail these sods, but just enough to pay for the gods. friends I've made, the bills I've climbed, work not luck finds me here. Success and fame, some near so far, you would always be my star. Always said I could always be improving, kept my feet on the ground, always near. Threw me a line, shared your time, just two silly sods with just enough to pay for the gods. I still hear your voice, I feel you near, you kept me from the cold. An easy touch, so wise, so old, to help face all the world could hold. In the dark I can still hear your laughter, though I stand on this stage all alone. You shared your life, you gave me pride in two silly songs with just enough to repay the gods. Thank you very much. She called all of the new young comedians like Spike Milligan and Frankie Howard, she called them silly sods. And when he actually took part in an end of PS show, the first time she'd seen him perform, he said, "What did you think of that then, Grandma?" And she said, "You're a right silly sod." Now, this is a song. Actually, could I have a drink of water, please, Anne? So, I like the service, yeah. And there's someone at the door. There's someone at the door. So we'll just wait. There was one time I was playing, and there was like a big field of people, and there'd been a lot of shenanigans going on. So I'd started singing, and then this police car drove through the middle of the crowd to go from one side to the other. So you kind of like wait it out. And then everybody comes back and you start singing again. And then an ambulance came through from the other direction like this. And you wait it out. And I was just about to start again. And the fella says, "Your time's up." It's a good... Arrested. No, I didn't even get arrested. No.
You could write a song about it.
Yeah, oh, that's it, yeah. Hiya.
Look.
Hiya, how are you?
Thank you. Sorry to...
Okay. And Tom Waits says this thing of, "I love songs with a sweet melody that tell me terrible things." So this is meant to sound a bit like a lullaby. So it goes, "Hear your voice in every song I sing." You sing it. "Hear your voice in every song I sing." Now we're singing it again at the end. This is real spinner stuff, this. And the other one is, "Choruses one in every song I sing." Choruses one in every song I sing. Now the thing is, the last time, the first of these house concerts that I tried to run, I used the concertina to give me a note. Now concertinas come in different sizes, shapes and tones, and I picked the wrong one. And I wound up singing this a bit like Paul Robeson. Okay, so I've made, yeah, I know, okay. The moon shines down on us soul, keeping us together. Heart speaks to heart, whate'er the dark may bring. I look to the skies and I feel that you're ever closer. Close my eyes and I feel you standing there. The snow falls down on us all, keeping us together. Tears speak to you, whatever the cold may say. We'll watch the same moon and know that we're ever closer. Open my heart and I feel your hand in mine. The stars smiling down each night bring us ever closer. Light speaks to you, whatever the darkness says. My tears fall down as I smile on our times together. Hear your voice in every song I sing. Hear your voice in every song I sing. The sun warms our skin each day, bringing us together. Eyes know your face, whatever your heart may feel. My feet touch the earth and our footsteps ring together. Closer each day till we're standing hand in hand. The breeze feeds my song and my heart feels ever stronger. Voices as one, whatever the storm may say. Your touch is my strength, as my words they will soar together. Chorus as one in every song we sing. Chorus as one in every song we sing. Distance and time cannot change what we've made together. Scorn and revenge just strengthen our resolve. One day we will stand in our time that will last forever. Stars mark each day until we all are one. The moon shines down on us all, keeping us together. Voices as one, whatever the storm may say. Your touch is my strength, as our words they will soar together. Hear your voice in every song I sing. Hear your voice in every song I sing. Thank you so much for that. So, this is a concertina that I bought in 1979. It cost me £11. Can you imagine that? I mean, like real ones were costing somewhere in the region of like 100 guineas or something like that. Anyway, I've only just started playing it again because it leaks and it's not necessarily in tune. So I call it the wheezy concertina. Okay. So what I used to do was I used to walk my grandson every morning for about 5 miles, and I used to make up stories where, I mean, he couldn't talk, but I was having a conversation with him. This lasted for about 18 months, and I walked him around for about 2 years. But the thing was, when the sun came out, if the sun shone on him, he would start screaming. So I would do this thing with the pram, and I called it shadow dancing, where I wound up having to go in the shadows, and people, if they were watching me, I'd be going like from one side of the street, racing across in the sunshine, and then sort of go in the shadows. And this is a tune for him, and it's called Shadow Dancing. Anyway. It's actually about like children, all of the grandchildren, all 5,000 of them that I've actually got. And my second eldest granddaughter, I said, what do you think of that? She said, it sounds like unicorns dancing in the clouds. That's it. If nothing else, I've got the R factor. So it's a bit like children where you can see them, they just look as if their Duracell is completely and utterly worn out, and then they start all over again. Made me sound much cleverer on the concertina than I thought I was, because one of the buttons stuck. So it was great. I was like, oh, I'll have to do that more often. Right, rather than just sort of get the concertina out, I know you haven't done me any harm, but I am going to continue on playing it. Because at the last house concert, I didn't play any concertina, and some people even feigned disappointment. I don't know what it is. But, when I was at school, in the deep dark dim past in the 50s, we used to do this thing that I call singing to the wall, because they had these huge speakers which were probably about the size of the mirrors in this room here, about that sort of size, and there'd be somebody who spoke in a language that I did not understand. Now everybody is going to jump around and pretend the trees that can fly, and you're kind of going, why are they talking like that? Okay, well, time and tune was like a big deal, and one of the songs that they used to sing was this one. So it was Good King Arthur's Days, and this is like an amalgamation of the time and tune, because when I was a teacher, somebody said, oh, we've got all these books of music, you play the guitar, and it was probably about 2 cupboards full of like time and tune, and I found it in there, so I took some of the verses out of that. So if you want to get yourself ready and get into the mood, if you'd all like to strip down to your vests and knickers. No takers then, okay. Now it's got a refrain. Now I said this the other week when I was in the club, and that's exactly what they did. The refrain from joining in. So it's like the last line gets repeated. It was really weird. You know, it's like I'm standing there going, you have to sing the refrain in a folk club, and everybody just like that. Nothing. So there you go. In good King Arthur's days, when we served under the king, lived a miller and a weaver, little tailor, 3 thieving rogues of the lane, 3 thieving rogues of the lane, 3 thieving rogues of the lane, lived a miller and a weaver, little tailor, 3 thieving rogues of the lane. In good King Arthur's days, he was a merry king. He threw 3 servants out of his house, all because they wouldn't sing, all because they wouldn't sing, all because they wouldn't sing. Well, he threw 3 servants out of his house, all because they wouldn't sing. Now the first he was a miller, and the second he was a weaver, the third he was a little tailor, three thieving rogues together, three thieving rogues together, three thieving rogues together, and the third he was a little tailor, three thieving rogues together. Now the miller he stole corn, and the weaver he stole yarn, and the little tailor he stole broadcloth for to keep those three rogues warm, for to keep those three rogues warm, for to keep those three rogues warm, and the little tailor he stole broadcloth for to keep those three rogues warm. Now the miller he drowned in his dam, and the weaver he hung on his yarn, and the devil put a claw on the little tailor with the broadcloth under his arm, with the broadcloth under his arm, with the broadcloth under his arm, and the devil put a claw on the little tailor with the broadcloth under his arm. Now the miller still drowns in his dam, and the weaver still hangs on his yarn, and the little tailor he skips through hell with the broadcloth under his arm, with the broadcloth under his arm, with the broadcloth under his arm, and the little tailor he skips through hell with the broadcloth under his arm. In good King Arthur's days, when we served under the king, lived a miller and a weaver, little tailor, three thieving rogues of Lane, three thieving rogues of Lane, three thieving rogues of Lane, and the little tailor he skips through hell with the broadcloth under his arm, with the broadcloth under his arm, with the broadcloth under his arm, and the little tailor he skips through hell with the broadcloth under his arm. Have you seen a lot of concertinas? I was in Otley of all places, and I was walking along, and all of a sudden I wound up seeing on the ground the shadow of a castle. You know, you don't often sort of see shadows of castles appearing. But in All Saints Church in Otley, there's a monument to the navvies who built the train tunnel in Bramall. It's basically 2.5 miles long, and it's built right when the architects who built the trains, they said we need to go from there to there, and the only way to do it was to cut a hole through this mountain. So what they did was they lowered them down in buckets, probably about the size of this room, about 20 men at a time, lowered them down, and it was like this kind of watery hell, because it was like a river ran through the middle of this. And again, it's that thing of, I keep doing this, I keep taking my glasses off thinking I can see. And so again, it's that thing of like a sweet tune for a terrible like message. Again, it's like a lullaby. And it's called My King Sleeps Well Tonight, because this monument looks like a castle, which is exactly the same as the entrance to the Bramall Tunnel. It looks like a castle. And see that Adam's smiling here, because I tried to sing this at the bridge one night, and the string kept slipping, and it kept slipping and slipping, so I started it and the string slipped, and then it started again and the string slipped, and then it snapped and everybody cheered. Thank God he's not going to play the banjo anymore. My king sleeps well in his castle tonight, so brave, so strong, never scared of the fight. With his hammer and chisel, it rings like a bell. For you he dig right down to hell. Oh, sleep my bonny Ben. Your dad was the best, a king amongst many, and if you're good, we'll save up your pennies and visit his kingdom, so damp and so cold. Your dad would dig for your gold. Oh, sleep my bonny Ben. In the blink of an eye, they rattle through this land, each brick, each stone, he placed there by hand in the damp and the cold. Why they'd never go, they never knew what lies below. Oh, sleep, my bonny Ben. His castle is made out of sandstone and sweat. No name on the door, but we'll never forget. A good man, a kind man, the best in this land. His pick and his shovel in his hand. Oh, sleep, my bonny Ben. They carried the king so high on the shoulders, no one more brave, more handsome nor bolder. He did all he could to keep us from harm. Wish he was here, he'd keep us both warm. Oh, sleep, my bonny Ben. And them that lives in the palaces, the houses, make marks on maps, never know what hard work is in the damp and the cold, where the sun never shines. See me, king, when I look in your eyes. Oh, sleep, my bonny Ben. In the mouth of a cave, a king stands singing to remember the brave lads, the kids and the women who gave up their lives for this castle of stone. The memory will live on. Oh, sleep, my bonny Ben. Well, this is going to be the last one of this this bit, but I think when you wind up writing songs, you tend to get a bit obsessed with just doing your own songs, mostly because it's such a journey to go on, and you feel like you really want to sort of like share that with other people. Well, one of the nicest things about travelling around the country and going around singing is you get to hear other singers and other songwriters. And when I was in Tunbridge, not Tunbridge Wells, but right beside Tunbridge, there was a lady there called Charlotte Oliver, who is a great singer-songwriter. And she plays the English concertina, but you can't help that. There's great rivalry between concertinas. You thought, oh my goodness, it's nearly in tune. I love these tuners because what they do is, if they're all mostly in, you can tune the others so that they're all nearly in. Okay? So it's deliciously out of tune in real terms. It's called Idle Women. Nope, can't waste any more time. And Idle Women is about from 1941 to 1945, when conscription came in with a vengeance. A lot of the people who worked on the narrowboats, all the men who worked on the narrowboats, were conscripted into the army, which meant that the travelling goods, which were mostly iron and coal between London and the Midlands, almost came to a standstill. And to put an advert in saying, we need women to come and work on the inland waterways. Well, they were given jumpers which had IW written on, and with that kind of wartime humour, the people who were the families who worked on the waterways thought IW stood for Idle Women. Okay, so that was their pejorative like nickname. Come on, you weren't expecting that, were you? Okay. And it's got a chorus. Idle women, that's what they're calling us, though we're working all the livelong day, steering boats while dodging bombs and doodlebugs. We're the idle women of the waterways. I'll just sing We're the idle women of the waterways. I don't sing anything at all. But I don't want you to feel worried, but I do have feelings. never comfy in a crew. Knew a khaki uniform was not for me. Heard the needed women on the narrow boat. Found myself in headscarf and old dungarees. Jumper issued by the inland waterways. IW written out across me chest. Idle women, that's what they're calling us. Hurtful though I know that it was said in jest. Idle women, that's what they're calling us. Though we're working all the livelong day, steering boats while dodging bombs and doodlebugs. We're the idle women of the waterways. What a crew we were, debutantes and duchesses, young girls bombed out from the old East End. Never steered a boat, soon we would be leading them from London to the Midlands and back again. First they showed us around the narrow boats, poky little cabins, couldn't find the loo. Well, there's a war on ladies, let me put it nicely. Bucket girls and chucket girls, what you have to do. Idle women, that's what they're calling us. Though we're working all the livelong day, steering boats while dodging bombs and doodlebugs. We're the idle women of the waterways. Down at the Limehouse early in the morning, loading up with 50 tons of steel at a time. Then cast off while dodging bombs and doodlebugs. I was glad to leave poor London town behind. Up the Union, heading for the Midlands. Heinz and Glaxo needed all we got. Unload at the factories, then it's down to Coventry, picking up the coal and do the homeward drop. Idle women, that's what they're calling us. Though we're working all the livelong day, steering boats while dodging bombs and doodlebugs. We're the idle women of the waterways. There's so much to do, no time to admire the view. Winding up the paddles on the big lock gates. Pump the bilge, splice the ropes. Any problems we must cope. Got to keep on moving, we can't be late. Sometimes we'd see land girls in the corduroys. Wave to them beneath our breath, we whisper, damn. They get extra rations, not like idle women. Breakfast, lunch and tea, we're eating spam, spam, spam. Idle women, that's what they're calling us. Though we're working all the livelong day, steering boats while dodging bombs and doodlebugs. We're the idle women of the waterways. There were summer's days when the war seemed far away, horse-drawn barges going slowly by, brightly painted red and green, stern to prow the brasses gleam, gently rolling underneath an endless sky. When peace comes, I'll go back to London. When they ask me where I've been, smile and say, I pump bilges, splice the ropes. Any problems I just coped. I was an idle woman of the waterway. Idle women, that's what they're calling us. Though we're working all the livelong day, steering boats while dodging bombs and doodle bugs. I was an idle woman What a lovely song that is. It's absolutely gorgeous. Well, there's now going to be a short turnaround while I'll get out of the way. And Rosie and Adam will entertain you.
We get into the way.
I like the idea of that. Well, I'm going to start off with a song that I first heard sung by a lady called Shirley Collins. Absolutely brilliant singer. You might not have heard of her, but she comes from down Brighton way. Absolutely besotted with her. In 1968, the first time I actually got to see her was at the City Hall when she was doing a support for the Corries, of all things. And I'd only heard her voice and loved her. And then I saw her in real life and I was like, oh my God, she's marvellous from a distance. I was 15 at the time, by the way. She would have looked at me going, what's that squid? But anyway.
Was that before you were married?
Oh yeah. Yeah, 15, yeah. Yeah. I'm not from Kentucky. I've got to tell you that. So, I was playing at Whitby Festival and she was on and I was absolutely over the moon, but I don't know if anybody's ever been to Whitby Folk Festival, but every waking hour you're occupied, you know, they certainly get their attention. And the only chance I got to see her was after I'd been playing all day. I'd done like 4 bookings that day, and she was there at the Spa Theatre. The thing was, this was my last day there, and I'd had a little drink, and I got to see her, and I'm standing there going, Shirley Collins, I love you. I think you're gorgeous. And you could see her looking, and as I was there, I was so drunk, I was holding like an old pint pot like that, and basically just poured it over her. She's never spoken to me since. She took the glass off me and went, what a fool. But anyway, that was just as an introduction. This is a song which is called Spencer the Rover, and I love the idea of there being, you know, when people say there's no such thing as a happy folk song, well, there are. There's not many of them, but there's this one. But I always think that if they had a kind of a competition for who's the best or worst hobo or sort of like a homeless person, Spencer the Rover would have come last. Okay? So he goes off and he comes back and it all ends happily. These words were composed by Spencer the Rover, who travelled Great Britain and most parts of Wales. He became so reduced, which caused great confusion, and that was the reason he took to the Rome. In Yorkshire near Rotherham he had been on his rambles. Being weary of travel, he sat down to rest. By the foot of yon mountain there runs a clear fountain. With bread and cold water himself did refresh. Well, it tasted more sweeter than the gold he had wasted, more sweeter than honey, and gave more content. At the thought of his babies lamenting their father, brought tears to his eyes and made him relent. Now the night drawing on to the woods he resorted, with ivy and woodbine his bed for to make. There he dreamt about sighing, lamenting and crying. Go home to your loved ones and rambling forsake. Now on the 5th day of November I've a reason to remember, when first he arrived at home to his family and wife. Well, they stood so surprised when first he arrived, to see such a stranger once more in their sight. And his children came around him with their prittle-prattling stories, with the prittle, prattle and the stories to drive care away. Oh, and now they're united like birds of one feather, like bees in one hive, and contented they'll stay. And now they are living in their cottage so contented, with ivy and roses grown all round the door. They're as happy as them that's got thousands of riches. Contented they'll stay and go rambling no more. It's almost, yeah, lots of people have heard it before, sung probably by John Martin. He sang it. He made a version of it a long time ago. But you wind up singing that halfway through a set, and that gives you leeway to sing another 4 miserable songs. It's like a license to make people sad. Well, I've done lots of things in schools, and one of the things was in Quaking Houses. I don't know if you've heard of the place or been past it in Durham, and they were reclaiming the land from where the pits used to be. And so I went into schools, and when I was there, what I had to do was I had to sort of make up stories with the schools, and also wrote a song. Anyway, from the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, all played their part. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, friends and family workmates brought the light from the dark. You've all got that stunned look in your eyes, okay? Just sing from the darkness to the light, okay? Gives me a chance to breathe. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, all played their part. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, friends and families, workmates brought the light from the dark. For ships and trains and iron, industry and home, we pull black diamonds from the earth, all hail to King Cole. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, all played their part. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, friends and families, workmates brought the light from the dark. And no one talks of danger underneath the ground, where the heartbeat of this nation of that blood can be proud. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, all played their part. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, friends and families and workmates brought the light from the dark. And once there was a mine here, but now the pit head's gone. There's no more working underground, the memory lingers on. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, all played their part. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, friends and families, workmates brought the light from the dark. And now the pit is closing, Mother Nature takes a hand. There's no more filthy slag heaps in this green and pleasant land. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, all played their part. From the darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light, friends and families and workmates brought the light from the dark. For ships and trains and iron, industry and home, darkness to the light, from the darkness to the light. Friends and families, workmates brought the light from the dark. Well sung. I see you all remember that mothers come first. Well, oh yes. Now, I used to play in a Ceilidh band. I played in a Ceilidh band for about 1989 until about 2010. And then it got to the point where I was never home because I was storytelling all of the days of the week, all of the work days, and then Ceilidh bands on the weekends. And often you find that, Adam will know this, that when you're playing tunes, they all wind up being in the same key. So you wind up writing bridging things that are like to raise the key. A bit like singing Spencer the Rover. So you can wind up singing 4 miserable songs, well, with tunes. And there's a set of waltzes. And the first tune's called She Begs to Differ. This is for a work colleague when I was a teacher. And she was called, her surname was Differ, which was very D-I-F-F-O-R, a proper Scottish name, Janet Differ. And the thing was, it really suited her down to the ground because she's the most argumentative person you can possibly imagine, okay? And the second tune's called In Space, Nobody Can Hear You Play the Tenor Banjo. I'm glad you asked. The thing is, I can't remember if I've told this tale on tape before, but I was given a notice that I was going to get a £10,000 royalty cheque from the PRS, the people who collect from the radio station, and I thought that's fantastic. And then I found out that the second lead singer in Hot Chocolate is also called Tony Wilson, and I just really want him to be puzzled when he looks at In Space, Nobody Can Hear You Play the Tenor Banjo. I don't remember writing that. So 2 waltzes. I'll play the right end of the plectrum. That's always a good one. Yeah, the pointy end. Got a bit of a disco version there when I was like, where am I up to? What am I playing? And inside there's always like an internal dialogue. Concentrate! eventually got there anyway. But I do like those tunes. So, tunes and songs come from all sorts of different places. And in about 2000, I was in Prague, and there was an Irish band who were from Prague, a bit like the equivalent of the Prague version of Jethro Tull, and they're absolutely fantastic. But they would sing traditional Irish songs in Czech, and there was one tune that really stuck in my head, and so they gave me a CD, and I wrote some words for it when I was in Scotland, when I found out about the Lord of Misrule. Have you all seen the Steel Eye Span record, Below the Salt? What happened was there was a period in time, and it sort of varies, but round about November-ish until about February time, as the nights were getting darker and colder, that what would happen is there would be like a bacchanalia where the king would become the servant, and the servant would sit on the throne or sit at the top of the table. And what happened was, I wrote this song in about 2001 and then lost it. And I also lost the CD. And then something happened which gave us all time to start clearing out the loft. Okay? And lo and behold, I found the words and I thought, oh yes, that's that. But I could not find the disc. Or I couldn't work out which one of these Irish songs sung in Czech by Jethro Tull from Prague was the right tune. So in the end, I kind of cobbled 2 or 3 of them together. And it's got a refrain. Hurrah, we squealed. That's okay. So, could I have a drink of water, please? Yeah? I haven't, but I'll have it loose. Like this, yeah. Thank you very much. Can I just say what a real pleasure it is to be here? It's slightly surreal, you know. It's just like after like long periods of time of not performing, and I'm singing in the house. Hardly ever sing in the house. I sing in the bathroom because I'm quite considerate. I wind up singing in the toilet, not because of the acoustics. It's furthest away from everybody else. Anyway, it's like I'm going to sing. To those departed, lost or broken-hearted, a tear from a king and a fool. You try that. To those departed, lost or broken-hearted, a tear from a king and a fool. That's fabulous, but I've got to tell you, it changes every time. Once again a toast, my friend, to misrule at this feast of Yule. To those departed, lost or broken-hearted, a tear from a king and a fool. Winds might shake us, rains might break us, like those who trod before us. Though we need them, pay no heed to them. A glass to our Master and the Lord. To those departed, lost or broken-hearted, a tear from a king and a fool. To those departed, lost or broken-hearted, a tear from a king and a fool. Once again a toast, my friends, to misrule at this feast of Yule. To those forlorn, despised or scorned, a pardon from a king and a fool. Hands held as friends, not fists, our minds and souls are one. A willing heart, the new sun dawns. Raise a cheer to our Master and the Lord. To those forlorn, despised or scorned, a pardon from a king and a fool. To those forlorn, despised or scorned, a pardon from a king and a fool. Servant as master, master as a slave, we're gathered at this table to misrule. Let those who love us never lord it over us. We're equal on throne and on stool. Each hour, each day leads us back to this place, to pass each aging year. Time, a master, marks at our face. Let a smile drive away all fear. Let those who love us never lord it over us. We're equal on throne and on stool. Let those who love us never lord it over us. We're equal on throne and on stool. Just one last toast at this New Year's season, as winter winds blow cruel. To those mistaken, lost or forsaken, a kiss from a king and a fool. Age might fail us, limbs deceive us, our minds and hearts are one. We'll sport the laws, we'll mark the king, till morning brings us what has always been. To those mistaken, lost or forsaken, a kiss from a king and a fool. To those mistaken, lost or forsaken, a kiss from a king and a fool. Very interesting. My thanks to you all. Thank you so much. Thanks to Adam. Thanks to Rosie. Thanks for coming along. And now it's chili time. Thank you so much. Great.
I forgot to